right, Eagles Syndicate, welcome back to the channel. Today, I want to be addressing some of the rumors online that the Philadelphia Eagles could or should make an attempt to go after Tyreek Hill, as the Miami Dolphins organization is just pretty much completely falling apart. And, Jalen Ramsey for sale, Tyreek Hill for sale, Tua for sale. No, nobody's trading for that contract. And nobody's trading for the Tyreek Hill contract, by the way, either. I just want to read off some numbers here to any Eagles fan that thinks from a talent perspective it's a good idea to bring in Tyreek Hill. There is a potential out in his contract after next year, but he is a $27 million cap hit this upcoming year. And next year, it's scheduled to be $51 million. So even the Dolphins will take the out, but $27 million for Tyreek Hill. Let's just address the elephant in the room. Howie Roseman will not trade for Tyreek Hill due to off-the-field domestic abuse complaints time and time again. It's not just a one-time deal with this guy. It has happened multiple times, and Howie Roseman has said multiple times, including at the Combine, the one off-the-field issue that the Philadelphia Eagles organization is not willing to work with, is not looking to overlook, is not willing to consider, is domestic abuse against a female partner. That is what Howie Roseman has said. And a week ago, Tyreek Hill had his girlfriend, fiance, wife, I'm not sure what she is, to him. Her mother called the police and say that he was dragging her around the house. And I'll leave it at that. You could look up the police report. But point being, the Philadelphia Eagles will not consider bringing in Tyreek Hill under any circumstances. It is a 0% chance. But even if that didn't exist, it'd be a bad move. A $28 million cap hit for your team's third best wide receiver, because he's damn sure not close to AJ Brown. And give me Devonta Smith over him. Give me the Heisman winner, national champion, Super Bowl champion, Smitty, skinny Batman, over Tyreek Hill at this point in time. So, and there's Saquon and Jay. Like, the Eagles don't need to invest another $30 million into an offensive skill piece that's going to be the fourth option offensively. They're looking to cut costs and move off of Dallas Goedert. They'd rather Dallas Goedert retained than Tyreek Hill brought in. If we want to talk about splash moves that the Eagles could make, maybe Jalen Ramsey for a year. We lost Slay, we lost Isaiah Rodgers, you bring in a Ramsey because you're willing to contend right now, and maybe it's not Eli Ricks or Keely Ringo quite yet. Maybe, or a Trey Hendrickson, if you could get him from Cincinnati, for whatever the cost may be, or a TJ Watt I've seen thrown around. Like, those are big time players that I'd consider moving for depending on the cost. But Tyreek Hill, get out of here. The Philadelphia Eagles do not need Tyreek Hill. The Philadelphia Eagles do not want Tyreek Hill, and you shouldn't want him either. Tyreek Hill in Philly would be an all-time blunder from Howie Roseman. And I get it. Tyreek Hill, at his peak during his prime, was an immense talent. Is some of that Patrick Mahomes merchant? Maybe. But Tyreek Hill doesn't contribute to winning. Look at the Dolphins since he's gotten there. Paying Tyreek Hill $30 million isn't a winning move. They don't have a playoff win. And not that that's all at the feet of Tyreek Hill. There's a lot more about the Dolphins organization. That's a conversation for another day. But my point being, Tyreek Hill is not a needle mover for the Philadelphia Eagles. Their offense is already top 3 in football. Their offense already in an NFC championship put up 50 plus points, and then in the Super Bowl followed that with 40 plus points. They don't need him, and they certainly don't need him for his price tag. Is Jahan Dotson the guy, the wide receiver 3? We could have that conversation. Should they draft a Luther Burden if he falls to them at 32? I'm willing to sit here and talk about that. But Tyreek Hill for $30 million? Some of y'all on Twitter are out of your mind for suggesting the Eagles do that move. Howie Roseman would never. And even if Tyreek was a model citizen off the field, it just wouldn't make sense financially to have that much money invested in your wide receiver 3 and 4th option on offense. There are games where Devonta Smith goes missing because of how good A.J. Brown and Saquon Barkley are. At over 30 years old, a little bit of injury history at this point, what is Tyreek Hill going to add to Philly that they just don't already get? Some speed? There's some better options out there that are way cheaper. This is an absolute do not consider for the Philadelphia Eagles, in my opinion.